Hello, I am Ruby Falconer. Today's date is May 9th, 2021, and this is a Shamanic Egyptian astrological update for the upcoming month. We are beginning with the Taurus dark moon. The dark moon is the 3 days around the new moon. We have a new moon on May 11th, and so what that means is to some degree tonight, certainly tomorrow night, May 10th, May 11th, May 12th. Those are the nights where the moon will not be visible. It's in a conjunction and alignment with the sun, so we can't see it. For shamanic peoples, indigenous peoples around the world, this is the dark moon. It's a time to go inward, to do contemplation, to let go of the previous month and prepare for what is yet to come. To allow oneself to go into the cave of introspection. We're going to be doing a journey around this new moon in a while, but before we do that, I want to give you some information about what's coming up astrologically for the next month. This is a time if you set your intention at the Aries new moon for what you want to manifest for this next year. And if you haven't done that yet, you can do that right now. Now is the time to start to begin to ground that intention in physical reality. That's what Taurus does, is it takes the new life that begins in the Aries period and it grounds it in physical reality. It grounds it in form. Taurus is an earth sign and is all about the body. So we're going to come back to what's going on with this new moon in a few minutes here, because we're going to be doing a journey with Hathor, the goddess who's most allied with the sign Taurus. But before we get there, I want to share with you what it is that's coming up, the different things that are coming up for this next month, this Taurus moon phase, because we've got a lot of things happening. We're going to be moving into some shifts. So first of all, we've got that new moon that takes place on May 11th. Then on May 13th, Jupiter enters Pisces. Now, Jupiter has been in this air sign Aquarius. It's now going to be moving into the water sign Pisces, but just for a period of time. It's going to turn retrograde in Pisces on the 2nd degree on the solstice on June 20th. And then it's going to come back into remaining in Pisces. It's going to come back toward Aquarius, and it will re-enter Aquarius on July 28th and remain in Aquarius until December 28th. So we got this 2.5 month period where Jupiter is going to kind of move into Pisces, giving us a little hint of what the next Jupiter phase is going to be about. But that is going to be a shift in energy. Pisces is very different from Aquarius. They're both signs of planetary service, but they approach it in a very different way. Aquarius approaches with the mind. Pisces approaches with the heart. In the Shamanic Egyptian pantheon, Pisces is allied with Sothis, who is the star Sirius. This is the Bodhisattva energy. This is, we're moving into other realms now, other spiritual realms. This is divine source. This is opening up that personal connection with divine source, receiving it, moving it through the heart. Jupiter, remember, is the principle of expansion. This is Horus, the young king. So it's a very different kind of energy. It's a visionary energy in a different sort of way. Again, it's energy of planetary service, but from a more spiritual, connected to divine source energy. It's more yin as opposed to Aquarius, which is more yang. So it's more about receptivity. So it operates in a different way. So we're going to have a shift there from May 13th until July 28th, while Jupiter is in the sign Pisces. May 20th, the sun moves into Gemini. So we are going to have Gemini season, and we already have Mercury and Venus in Gemini. So we're starting to get some of that mutable sign energy. Pisces, where Jupiter will be, is also a mutable sign. So we've had a lot of fixed sign energy in 2021. We're going to have some mutable sign energy coming in. And the difference between the fixed signs are very grounded. That's Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius are the fixed signs. The mutable signs are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. They're more flexible. They move quicker. While the fixed signs take energy and move it down, they're grounding in the earth and in form. They can be stubborn, but they also get things done. You want to have something done. It's a very good time to do it during fixed sign energy. It's manifesting kinds of signs. While the mutable signs are more adaptable. They're more flexible. They move more. So that's a shift in collective energy that happens on May 20th when the sun enters Gemini. On the 23rd, Saturn turns retrograde on the 13th degree of Aquarius, and this is really important. We'll be feeling this energy progressively, and particularly that last week before the 13th, we're going to feel it before the 23rd, we're going to feel it very strongly. When outer planets are moving into station, we feel them very strongly. Saturn is Sobek, the old king. This is the principle of restriction, the principle of contraction. And what's most important is Saturn is in this ongoing square to Uranus, which is predominant all of 2021. I've been talking about this. Saturn is sort of like the container that's holding the new life, which is represented by Uranus, Wajet, the Kundalini Queen, the Cobra goddess, who's brings new life and brings new energy. She's life force energy. She breaks through restrictions. She breaks through obstacles. She's going to break through Saturn, but she's not able to do it yet. The two are in kind of a struggle. So we have this energy. Of the one hand, we can feel the Uranian life force wanting to push out, and yet we also feel the Saturnian force not allowing that life force to break through yet. So it sets up a kind of a volatility, an unpredictability, an intensity, and can lead to frustration, irritation, volatile, unpredictable events happening in our lives and in the world. Some of these are violent. This is the stuff of earthquakes and volcanoes and eruptions of all sorts, eruptions of energy from deep inside the earth. Uranus is in Taurus, that earth sign. So, we've got that energy happening. While Saturn is in Aquarius. So Saturn, the collective is not allowing that life force to really move through, but it's really trying. Something new wants to break through established forms. So, we got volatility going. That's the hallmark of 2021, is volatile, unpredictable energy. So Saturn turns retrograde on the 23rd, 13th degree of Aquarius. Uranus is at the 11th degree of Taurus. They are square right now. They've been square all year. They're within 2 degrees of each of an exact square. Very close, and they're now going to be moving back to the exact square, which takes place on June 14th. So that energy is very much in play. It's very much the backdrops of all of 2021. May 26th. We have a full moon, and it will be a lunar eclipse, a total lunar eclipse. Sagittarius 5 degrees 26 minutes. This will be visible in Australia and in the Eastern Asia and in the Western United States. We'll see partial eclipse, but Australia and the longitudes below and above Australia will have an opportunity to see the lunar eclipse in its totality. Now, eclipses always come in pairs, so that does mean that 2 weeks later, on June 10th, we have an annular solar eclipse. So we will be entering the tunnel, the sort of the time out of time, the days between the worlds on May 26th. And it's important to understand that these eclipse portals are really important. This is a portal between 2 worlds, in a sense, 2 phases of experience. And one way to look at this is if you look at the last period of experience that we had, it began on July 28th, July 5th of 2020, and it ended on November 30th of 2020. So July 5th to November 30th was a phase of experience. If you think back to what happened in your own life, if you think back of what happened collectively, you're getting a sense of this. On July 30th, we entered another portal, which took place, a portal between the worlds, from November 30th to December 14th. So this particular phase of experience that we're in now began on December 14th, and it is ending on May 26th. So this is a phase of experience that we're coming to an end of. And again, if you think about your own life and think about what's been going on collectively, you can start to get some sense of what this is about. And the most important thing is that it's going to be shifting. We're going to be entering that portal between the worlds, where we're going almost like through a tunnel or through a birth canal, as one phase of experience is ending and a new one is beginning. That takes place on May 26th with a full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius. We then have, while we're in this tunnel, on May 29th, we're going to have Mercury turn retrograde, and that will be in Gemini, Gemini 24. Mercury's going to turn retrograde, and Mercury's spending quite a lot of time in Gemini this year. Mercury entered Gemini on May 3rd, and it will remain in Gemini until July 11th because it's turning retrograde in between. And so on May 29th, we have a 3-week period, 3 weeks, where Mercury will be retrograde. Happens about once every 3 months, and it's in the sign Gemini the entire time. Mercury rules Gemini. It's very comfortable in that sign. You know, Gemini and Mercury is Thoth in the Egyptian pantheon. Gemini is the Sphinx. Very comfortable with that energy of communication. When it's retrograde in its own sign, we can expect that external communication will be somewhat difficult, but it's an excellent time to be going inward and to be creating one's own connection with allowing oneself to receive downloads, to connect with the great star nations. Remember, Jupiter is going to be in Pisces, which is this is an excellent time to go out and connect with the star Sirius and receive your own personal download. I'll talk more about that. I'll post some writings about that when we get closer to that, and remind everyone that it's a good time to be receiving personal downloads and personal direction for yourself. During this time, you know, this Taurus new moon phase, when it's time to start grounding your intentions in physical reality, and you can receive some personal direction from the great star nations around that. So it's a very strong shift in energy that's taking place, again, away from the fixed signs toward the more mutable signs, which kind of are more adaptable. They move quicker. Sometimes they can be kind of contradictory. You know, they move one direction and then the other. You know, kind of energy. They ebb and flow. You know, rather than attempting to make something happen, they usually kind of go around it. You know, it's the way that they work, so they can be adaptable. They can change quickly, change on a dime, that kind of energy. So that's coming in. And then we have our new moon annular solar eclipse, which takes place on June 10th in Gemini, Gemini 19 degrees 47 minutes. That means we will be exiting the eclipse tunnel at that point and entering a whole new phase of experience. That particular eclipse will be visible primarily in Russia, Greenland, and northern Canada. And there are parts of the eastern United States that will be able to see a partial solar eclipse on that particular morning. So lots of shifts that are happening during this particular Taurus new moon phase. We are then, moving into some very important pieces with the exact square of Saturn and Uranus, the second exact square of Saturn and Uranus on June 14th. The first one took place in February. The third one will take place in December on the 24th. So again, that energy dominates the entire year. That's the backdrop of this year, is that square between those two. And then we also have the solstice on June 20th, with Jupiter turning retrograde in Pisces on that day as well. So that's in the Gemini moon phase, but just to kind of give you a heads up that that's the energy that we're moving toward. which is this interesting synthesis of, on the one hand, the volatility that the Saturn-Uranus square represents with mutability, a lot of energy moving all over the place. If it feels like the energy's been kind of crazy and sort of cacophonous up till now, it's going to intensify. It's kind of like the energy is going to keep raising, higher and higher and higher. That happens with the mutable signs in general, is that they just kind of go up and up and up. The frequency goes up with them. So that's what's going on, so some shifts happening during this time, and less fixed sign energy taking place. And let's come back to where we are right now, which is we're heading into this dark moon window. The dark moon, as I said, takes place on the 3-day period around the new moon. So the new moon is on May 11th. We have the dark moon is going to begin tonight on the 9th, but it will really be in place the night of the 10th, the night of the 11th, and the night of the 12th. So this is a good time to do that, going inward, going into your personal introspective cave, letting go of the energy of the previous month and opening up to what it is that you want to bring forth in this next month. And again, if you set your intention at the Aries new moon of what you want to manifest for this year, now's the time to start planting the seeds. This is the earth sign, the first earth sign of this astrological year. So it's time to start grounding what it is that you want to manifest and nurturing it, as it starts to come forth. So in the Egyptian pantheon, Taurus is allied with Hathor. And as we look at this new moon cycle, this new moon chart, for instance, the sun and the moon is in alignment with Lilith. Now, Hathor is the earth goddess. She is, in many ways, she's one of the most ancient goddesses of the world. She's one of the original goddesses of ancient Egypt, and she very much represents the generative quality of the divine feminine, the ability to bring forth life. She's about the lushness of life, and her message to us is to come on down. Her message is that you can't experience enlightenment by going out of your body. You have to, you can do that, and it's a good thing to do, but whatever you experience out in the upper realms, you have to bring it down into form. Enlightenment is experienced on earth by coming down into form, all the way in. Most of us aren't all the way in our bodies. And Hathor wants us to come all the way down in, all the way to our toes, all the way to our fingertips, almost like putting on a glove. That's what she wants us to do, and really embody ourselves so that we experience the pleasure of being in form. And it does mean we're going to have to experience the pain as well, because that comes with the territory. She's a very erotic goddess. The rites and rituals that were performed in honor of Hathor were very erotic rituals. There was a lot of sexuality, there was a lot of nudity, there was dancing, there was drinking, there was all kinds of things that was celebration of being in form. And it happens with this particular Taurus new moon. Black Moon Lilith, who's another wild woman, is in an alignment with the Sun-Moon conjunction. So this particular new moon portal is dominated by the wildness, the generative quality, the independence, the uniqueness of the divine feminine. Lilith represents the aspect of the feminine that will not be held down by the masculine. And this really isn't about gender. This is about wanting balance between yin and yang, and having come out of a long period of imbalance between the two, where yang had more power and yin had less power. Lilith represents rebellion against that. She is not happy with that. And so she's the one who will leave, because she's not going to be held down. She's the independent feminine who will go out into the world, the independent yin, in order to have sovereignty over herself. So she's in alignment, she's in Taurus, and she's in an alignment with that Sun-Moon conjunction. We also have, in the chart of this particular new moon, we have the ongoing square between between Pluto, Osiris, Lord of the Underworld, Lord of Regeneration, in an ongoing square to Eris. Eris is her Greek name. Discordia was her Roman name, who is the aspect of the yin who's kind of angry. She's sort of pissed off. You know, her myth, she's the one who took an apple and inscribed on it, to the fairest of them all. She was angry because she wasn't invited to a wedding. She showed up at the wedding anyway. She threw the apple into the middle of a bunch of goddesses who all grabbed it. Long story short, she ended up starting this Trojan War. So she represents the kind of angry, disenfranchised feminine. She has something in common with Lilith, in that she's really pissed off about not being given respect, not being included, not being acknowledged, not being recognized, being expected to perform a certain role which doesn't fit her nature. And so she does engage in revengeful, angry acts because she's so pissed off. She's so sick of this. So she's been actually in this ongoing square to Pluto, Osiris, Lord of the Underworld, God of transformation and change, God of death and rebirth. Square is always a challenging aspect. That's been in place for about 2 years now, off and on the 24th degree of Capricorn for Pluto, Aries for Eris. So they've been in this square. So again, that's another kind of backdrop energy that we've had going on for the last couple of years, and is very prominent in this particular new moon chart. We also have a strong square. Again, a square is a challenging relationship between Mars, the warrior king, Set in Cancer. That's Newton Geb in the Egyptian pantheon, in a challenging relationship to Chiron. There's something going on around a need for healing around the warrior. The Cancer expression of Mars is a desire to manifest home, security, stability, safety, family, an association of those things, security, safety, stability, with the family unit. So it's a kind of a glorification of family, of home, of roots, as a way to ensure safety and security and stability, which many of us know, that's questionable. It's true in some ways, and in other ways it's not. But that's what the Mars in Cancer warrior wants. And so he tends to express that. That's what he wants to manifest. And Chiron, the wounded healer, this is a version of Anubis in his role as the shower of the way. He's challenging that idea in some way. So we're kind of seeing a collective argument, a collective discussion of what we need in order to feel safe, in our homes, in our countries, whatever it might be. What does safety, security, stability mean? What's that about? So that's a very strong expression in this new moon chart as well. And the other thing that's very strong in this new moon chart, is very prominent, is the ongoing square between Saturn and Uranus, Sobek and Wadjet, which I've already talked about. That's the backdrop of the times that we are in. That's very strong as well. So it's a powerful new moon chart. And it's also a kind of initiating a phase. We've got Mercury and Venus already in Gemini. As I said before, Mercury is going to be spending quite a lot of time in Gemini because it's turning retrograde. So the next 2.5 months we'll have Mercury in its own sign, which is both fosters communication and expression. And during that retrograde period, there will be a cacophony of sound, a cacophony of voices, which at times will be confusing. So the energy is sort of amping up, is what we've got going here. So it's very important for each of us, as that energy amps up, to ground into our bodies, ground into form, ground into our lives. Take what it is that we want to manifest and put it in form. So I want to invite everyone to go on a journey. I'm going to spend a little bit of time here with Hathor, the goddess, the earth goddess, one of the most ancient of all goddesses, who is allied with the earth sign Taurus. So I invite you to get comfortable. Take a couple of nice deep breaths. Letting go of distractions. And because this is Taurus, if you are sitting up, make sure your feet are flat on the floor. If you are lying down, drop a grounding cord from the small of your back into the earth. We want to connect with the core of the earth. We want to feel ourselves held by the energy that is Gaia. That energy that holds us is gravity. And gravity is the loving arms of the mother. And Taurus, Hathor, is all about that love of the divine feminine, the generative feminine, the ultimate mother who truly loves us all and wants us to experience the glories of being in form. That's why we came to Earth, was to be embodied. And that's her message to us, is that we need to be embodied. So let's take a couple of nice deep breaths and really feel within our bodies the pull of gravity. Feel how you're held. Gaia will not let you go. You're not going to go spinning out into space. She keeps us on Earth, and she does that. Her tool for doing that is gravity, which is a cord, magnetic field that all of us have that connects us with the Earth. So really feel that. Breathe into that. And I invite you to imagine that you are somewhere on Earth that is completely beautiful, where nature has run wild. It may be somewhere where spring is in full bloom. There's flowers, the lushness of new growth. If you live in the southern hemisphere, it is that riot of color that happens with autumn, with fall. They're both about Hathor. Whether it's the new burst of new life or it's the last gasp before she lets go. This is her fullness. This is when she's fully alive. This is when she pushes through to something new, using that life force that is the essence of who she is to push forth to some new form. Just let yourself really feel that and really see it in your surroundings, in the beauty of the place that you have come to. And I want you to imagine that you're walking through this place and all of your senses are alive. For this is the time when our senses come forth. Hathor wants us to do that. She wants us to really be in our bodily senses, our vision, our sense of smell, our hearing, our sense of touch. Reach out and touch something in your mind's eye. Feel the textures that are around you. Meet your world through your form. That's what Hathor wants you to do. So I want you to imagine that as you are walking, you come to a clearing. And in this clearing, there is a woman. And she is stirring a big cauldron. This is the medicine woman. She's creating something out of all of the different aspects of life. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. She puts it all in because she's making a delicious, sumptuous stew. And she smiles when she sees you approaching. She beckons to you. Come here, come forth. I want you to taste the elixir of life. I want to awaken within you. You're a wild woman. Doesn't matter what gender you are. You've all got that wildness within. That feminine wildness that glories in being alive, that glories in the beauty of form. She wants you to feel that. She wants you to take that with you into this dark moon. And please know that this journey can be done any time during this Taurus month, this Taurus full moon season, new moon season. We can always journey with the loving energy, the Earth Mother, Taurus, Hathor. And so she wants you to come forth. And when she sees you come forth, she goes, we need a little bit more of this. We need a little bit more of that. Because you see, the stew that she's cooking up is unique to you. It's just for you. It's to give you information of what it is that you need to do in this next month in order to take your intentions and begin to manifest them, to begin to give them form, to give them life, to infuse them with life. So she stops her stirring now, and she puts a ladle in and she takes a sip of what she's been creating. She's like, yes, this is perfect. This is just right. So she dips her ladle in, she brings it up, she blows on it to cool it because she doesn't want it to be too hot. This mother would never hurt you. This Earth Mother loves you totally. And she extends it to you, offering it to you, inviting you to take a sip. Take a sip of this divine elixir that she has created just for you. And as you do, Hathor will take you on a journey. I'm going to be quiet now for a couple of minutes and let you journey with Hathor and receive a direct download from her around what it is you need to be doing in order to ground your intentions in form. What's the next step? What's the next step? It's time to move into the earth around this energy. To give something the structure of form so that it can be held and contained and can manifest here on earth. Nice deep breath. Go on a journey with the earth goddess Hathor. The thing about Hathor that is so extraordinary is she loves us totally and completely. There's no judgment in her. She doesn't care what we look like. She doesn't care what we've done. She just wants us to come down in. She wants us to live in our bodies, to be embodied. She wants us to take our dreams and begin to embody them in form, to live from that place. So allow yourself now to be wrapped in that energy, that incredibly loving, compassionate, excited, vibrant, lush, sensual, sexual, alive. She is so alive. The molecules are moving fast with this goddess. Invigorating, enlivening. Feel her wrap her energy around you. Feel that magical elixir that she's giving you surge through your body. Take some nice deep breaths and let that energy move throughout your physical form, touching every cell in your body, awakening and enlivening it. It is so good to be alive. That's her message. Live life to the fullest. She has a message for you. Receive it now. And give thanks to her for her gift and all she gives you every single day. Hathor is always there to remember us to come on down, come into form, bring our dreams, our visions into embodiment. It's the process. It's not the result. It's just about coming down. Come fully to earth. So as you come back into the room, feel that grounding cord. Feel that connection, your feet on the floor connected with the earth below. If you're lying down, that cord that connects with the earth, feel it. Some part of you needs to always remember that it's there. That you are held by the loving arms of the goddess. She will not let you go. Very gently now, come back into the room. Nice deep breath. Thank you. We will talk again.